Apple wants to destroy Samsung. They're sick of those ads, the blatant product ripoffs, and they're hoping the iPhone 16 is going to change everything. The Apple versus Samsung war may finally be coming to an end, and might actually end with Apple buying Samsung. Yep, you heard that right. Give me a minute to explain here because there's a lot to unpack. Get it? And a huge thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. Apple and Samsung are no stranger to controversy, as the two are constantly taking shots at the other. Apple's got a little jab here.
I am excited about the new Samsung. Not the phone, the refrigerator. Hubba hubba.
Samsung mocks Apple there.
I could never get a Samsung. I'm creative.
Dude, you're a barista.
This feud has been going on for years and years, and even has already gone through the court system with a huge lawsuit. But no matter what is thrown at them, the feud just continues year after year, even getting to a very interesting point recently where Samsung, a very cool and hip and anti-Apple company, introduced two familiar products. One, a higher-end sort of ultra watch, and another is a set of premium wireless earbuds that look a whole lot like their Apple counterparts. Which sort of raises the obvious question, why is Samsung just blatantly ripping off Apple? This video is gonna be super controversial, and let's just jump into it with the answer to that question, which is, it's pretty simple. Everyone loves Apple, and those who aren't Apple want to be Apple, or those who don't have Apple products want to have Apple products. For example, when Apple makes a design change, as obnoxious or just ludicrous as it may seem, all these other tech companies seem to follow suit because they realize that consumers, whether they love Apple or hate them, want to have their products. It's why back in the day, Apple's earbuds, those white earbuds that came with the iPod, were so iconic, because you could easily see that was an iPod attached to the other end of that cable, and everyone wanted to have one. So when Apple year after year have made some bold design changes, it's no surprise that very shortly after, other companies, Samsung not excluded, jump on the bandwagon and follow suit. And what's been particularly interesting to follow as an Apple fan is Samsung's evolution over the years, capitalizing in some really interesting areas. One of the most interesting things Samsung has done has been positioning themselves as sort of the anti-Apple, but still giving you an Apple-like experience. Samsung has got their own ecosystem these days of tablets and watches and health things and earbuds and phones, and they've got a lot of different things in that ecosystem, and they pride themselves on the customizability, if I can speak, the customization and customizability and the function that they provide, that the things that just Apple doesn't do. What Samsung has also done is positioning themselves as sort of a budget-conscious alternative, that if you want the look and feel of a higher-end, maybe iPhone-like phone, but you don't want to break the bank at $1,000, they've got a lot of great options at sort of the mid-tier and the low-end tier that a lot of consumers like, that also still sort of fit in that ecosystem if you want to go into another ecosystem. At the same time though, Samsung's also competing at the higher end as well. They've got the flips and the folds and whatever S20, whatever we're on these days, they're competing there as well. They're basically trying to attack Apple customers at all fronts. They're trying to compete at the flagship level end, maybe even a step above with the folding phone arena now, but also they're targeting the mid-tier and the low-end tier that Apple is sort of trying to target with like the iPhone SE and budget AirPods, but not exactly doing. Samsung's just trying to be everything to all people, all different categories, and they're trying to take down Apple every step of the way. But if we zoom out just a moment, past all the ads and the jabs and the he said, she said, all that stuff between Apple and Samsung, because it seems sort of like a drama movie at this point, we've got to remember that both of these companies are just massive, especially Samsung. I mean, the same company making the Galaxy Fold whatever is also making dishwashers and do they make dishwashers? Washing machines and refrigerators and TVs. And I think even there's like a division that makes tanks or components for tanks. I mean, Samsung is a huge, huge company. And while the smartphone, like consumer-facing sides of these companies are like bitter rivals, behind the scenes, Apple and Samsung actually have a really close and very lucrative and fruitful relationship. And speaking of fruitful relationships, if you want to set yourself up for success to get work done, you want to make sure you're comfortable. You want to make sure you're sitting in a nice chair that's going to support your body. You want to make sure you've got a nice, large, high-quality desk ready to help you get your work done. And if you're looking for the best place to find that plus so much more, you've got to check out this video's sponsor, FlexiSpot, which has got an amazing sale going on. Now, some of you may notice that over the last few months, I've moved into a new studio space. I've got some new sets sort of in progress. And now sort of my main sort of control center for this new space is right behind me. It's the E7 from FlexiSpot. It's a beautiful, high quality standing desk here that is super spacious, gives me plenty of room to have all my peripherals and everything set up. It even, I love this, has like some built-in grommet holes for running cables, and also just perfectly fits this microphone boom arm. So that has been amazing. And I just love the material here is super high quality. I've got this bamboo desktop here that is just beautiful. Of course, in addition to all that, I also love that this is a standing desk as well. So I've got a really easy control little pad here that I can use to manually bring the desk up or down. Of course, I can preset my favorite. Also, these desks are extremely well built and really strong as well. So even if I got a little bored from recording videos and just wanted to go on a little ride on my desk, the E7 is gonna handle that without breaking a sweat, even with an extra 170 pounds on here. Yeah, we can do this all day long. And when you're not standing, you want to make sure you're sitting in a good chair that's going to support you, keep you comfortable so you can work and get stuff done. That is where this comes in. This, ooh, a little Dr. Evil spin, is the C7, also from FlexiSpot, which is a perfect complement to your FlexiSpot setup. Packing biomimetic back support, it is super comfortable. It's got this really nice breathable fabric, really nice soft cushion here for your butt. You've got an adjustable headrest here, and is just designed to really make sure your body is supported and comfortable no matter whether you're sitting for an hour and you're standing the rest of the time, or if you're sitting 8 hours a day, this is just gonna be perfect for your setup. So learn more, check it out for yourself today at the link right down below in the description, and save big for a limited time. In fact, Apple has been working with different Samsung divisions for years now for different things like memory and storage and capacitors. And I think even for a while, Samsung was involved in making some of the silicon of like the early A-series chips, not the modern Apple silicon chips, but like back in the day. They've had a very big relationship for a while now. And one of the biggest relationships Apple and Samsung still have to this day is with displays. In fact, guess who is the exclusive provider of OLEDs for the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus? According to the latest leaks and rumors, that would be Samsung, my friends. And actually, Samsung has played a huge role in the Apple display business for years and years. In fact, back with the iPhone 10, when Apple made their big move over to OLED screens for the first time, it's been widely reported that Samsung's display division had their top customer, and it wasn't actually the smartphone division of Samsung, but it was Apple. Apple was the Samsung display division's best customer, and I think has been probably one of their top customer now for years now, thanks to just the amount of screens they're sort of buying and putting into their higher end flagship phones. And yeah, Apple and Samsung, they might be rivals on the outside, but behind the scenes, they're best friends. A lot of money changing hands there. But even though Apple and Samsung are still gonna be linked with the iPhone 16, we know Apple is a company that doesn't like to rely on others. They wanna do everything in-house and do their own thing from start to finish, which is why they're looking to make some changes with the iPhone 16. For example, we've heard over the last couple of years that Apple is looking to bring their cell modem reliance in-house. That instead of buying cell modems from Qualcomm, for example, they would be doing their own cell modem, though we've heard that project has been a little bit bumpy, even though I think they spent like, what, $1 billion to buy Intel's cell modem division, so they're still working on that. But we also know that Apple doesn't like relying on other companies for displays. Obviously, they're paying big bucks to LG and Samsung for those premium OLED displays, and we've heard that Apple is looking to change that by building their displays in-house. We actually heard that Apple was going to start small and then scale up, and first start by making their own displays for the Apple Watch, though after those reports leaked out, we then heard that those plans might have been scrapped, as Apple might have learned the hard way that was a little bit tougher than they may have imagined. So not exactly sure where the progress is on that, but we know that Apple, of course, wants to bring in as many components under their control as possible, whether it be their own custom silicon, like with the M series chips, whether it be with displays or storage. We know that Apple is trying to really shift their reliance from Samsung and others away, from those other entities and into their own sort of control, which is something they're really trying to do, though it seems like they're having a bit of a tougher time than they may have originally thought. We also know that Apple is trying to take a bite out of Samsung's market share as well, not just sort of at the higher end level, but also increasingly at the middle tier and lower end tier as well. For example, new rumors say that the iPhone SE4, Apple's sort of middle tier budget iPhone, is set to be getting its biggest upgrade ever in 2025, getting an OLED display, getting Face ID, a 48 megapixel camera. This is really going to rival some of Samsung's more middle tier sort of options, as some people might be finally able to afford an Apple solution that's a little bit more modern and a little bit more enticing than the current iPhone SE we've got right now. Also, Apple is looking to make some budget AirPods as well. Bringing an AirPods option to the masses at under $99 will be really cool to see. Again, Apple has for years now been focused on the higher end products, the more premium offerings, and Samsung has really dominated in sort of the middle tier, lower end tier space. And it seems like Apple is trying to change that in 2024 and 2025, not just competing anymore in the high end, but also, in addition to that, trying to compete more aggressively in the middle tier and lower end tier as well, as we see them introduce more budget versions of the iPad and budget versions of the Apple Watch and AirPods and iPads. They're really trying to make an effort to go after Samsung in all these different areas as well. And look, at the end of the day, I think we can both agree that no matter what side of this fight you're on, that both companies have been tremendous in pushing innovation. Samsung, whether you love them or hate them, has been super innovative in all areas, including, of course, the smartphone space. And same goes for Apple as well. They are pushing each other. They're sort of pushing the industry forward. And this healthy rivalry has been good for us as the consumer, as it's really led, I think, ultimately to better products. So I'm curious, your thoughts on the Apple versus Samsung rivalry. Does it still make sense in 2024? Which side are you on? And do you think Apple could ever maybe just buy Samsung's display division and bring it in-house? Could they just buy maybe some more components that Samsung has and just bring those divisions in-house, and maybe it's a win-win for everybody? Let me know your thoughts down below if that would make sense or not. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. I'm Robert Rosenfeld from the Apple Circle, and I'll see you all in the next one.